Welcome to Kuldrin's Crypt, Patreon producers only, episode 1 for January 30th, 2019. Today, I have some playtime to talk about, some thoughts about my last episode, which was season 2, episode 8. You can find that at kuldrinscrypt.com/208. And finally, I'm going to dive inside my own head about what the future might have in store for me. But first, no, it's not those rules to love by. It's an explanation of what this is. You're hearing this in the regular podcast feed to give you an example of what I have to offer in Patreon. This is not something that the regular listeners are used to. I put out play journals on Patreon, typically in video, but this way it's going to upload straight to your phone or download straight to your phone or computer, whichever way you have it set up. And I will put a video on Patreon how to subscribe to this particular feed. Please do not share the link to anyone that is not a Patreon producer. But as I said, in this episode, I'm going to talk about my play journal first, my thoughts, because the backlash that I expected from season 2, episode 8 did take place. And I'm going to talk about the future. Now, this episode is unlike anything that I've put out before into the regular feed. So if you're a new listener, this is not like the regular show. This is not going to be edited. I'm just going to record it and free flow. I have a very limited outline to go by because I want it to be something for you, the producers, that is just raw and completely me. So, my play journal. Back before Christmas, my sub Mayfair has a friend that is very interested in what it is that we do. She's kind of educated in what she thinks she likes and what she thinks she doesn't like. As far as being a masochist goes, she wanted to come over. She came to one of the local munches, and we introduced her to a lot of people. She had a really good time. She's extremely shy and withdrawn, but I think she sensed that she was around like-minded individuals, so she loosened up quite a bit and enjoyed herself, had a good time. So anyway, afterwards, we decided to go back to Mayfair's house. She's got a play space there that she and I have built together. Very nice place. And she wanted to witness a scene. And this was something that her and Mayfair had discussed and then asked me about it. Of course, I'm always willing to teach. So she and I did some rope and some impact that led into some knife and needle play, some bloodletting. It was a really good time. And she decided that she wanted to try out a couple of things. Her intent originally was not to try anything, and I was making sure that she did not go back on what she said because she was caught up in the moment. I've got a very, very low wattage. It was about $30 on Amazon, Violet Wand knockoff. And I got it out, and she was really curious. And I knew that she was already curious about that, which is why I got it out to show it to her. And she wanted to feel it on her hand and asked her, well, is this going to go against what you said about trying something? She's no, because she already had this in mind, apparently. So she gave that a go, and she wasn't wanting to get into a big full scene. And no clothes come off. She had already, her and Mayfair, before we got there, had already discussed her possibly trying a chest harness, completely clothed. So we had already done that. So she's wearing this chest harness. That actually it was a corset that came down from the chest harness. And she was really enjoying that. And then trying this electrical on her arm. And that led to trying it on her back and her legs and several other places, just about everywhere. And she was really, really enjoying it. Mayfair was participating and she was really enjoying it, which was kind of funny because she didn't really know what to do. You could tell that she wanted to kind of get into a topping mode almost. And that's just totally not her. According to her, I've always said that she's got it in her. And so she gave it a go and had a really good time and is definitely interested. We've had dinner a few times since, the three of us, or breakfast, as we're all night owls and frequently go out at, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning for breakfast. So, anyway, yeah, that was just prior to Christmas. A really good time, non-sexual play, didn't push any boundaries. Everything that happened was already predetermined, as it should be, in my opinion. And again, my opinion. New Year's Eve. So obviously this is December 31st, 2018 that I'm talking about. I'd built a ladder, a double-sided ladder. I'm going to post some pictures of that on FetLife as soon as I put a polyurethane coating on it and get it tidied up just a little bit more than what it is now. It's really cool. I put hinges on it so it folds up. It's made out of wood and it's angled. It's got foot plates that are angled with the pitch of the runs of the ladder. So people standing on it are really comfortable. And I took that. There was a lot of play on it. A lot of people enjoyed it. My wife got to play with someone that she was experimenting with in a DS setting. And come to find out, she wants no part of a DS relationship. She enjoys watching, as you heard in her interview. She's definitely a voyeur. She does enjoy topping, but she does not enjoy being someone's dominant. So that did come to an end rather quickly and abruptly, unfortunately. Just a lot of misunderstanding, I think. And then there was an issue between him and myself that was completely reactionary, but due to certain issues, I think it's been resolved on a personal level. Apologies have been made, but yeah, she was already, even before that took place on New Year's Eve, had decided that she was still trying, but I think she was in denial and didn't realize it. So, which is, I guess, denial by definition now, isn't it? Anyway, I did a needle scene. Well, no. First, I was asked to come in on a scene with a couple that I've played with several times. Sir Mutual Respect and Exquisite Kitten. Phenomenal people. I have mentored him in the past with a few things. And so he's amazing with a single tail. And I come in and we did like a double dragon tail finish with her. And then a little later, it went into some needle play and some extreme sadomasochism. There was blood and all had a great time. That pretty much finished up the night. I did a little single tail whip work with a 4-foot snake whip on somebody. So a few weeks later, I had some fun with a play partner, capital P. And for those that don't know, when you're referring to a play partner in writing, if it is sexual, it is a capital P. If it's non-sexual, it is a lowercase p. So Just interesting tidbit on that in case you weren't aware. But anyway, that was, it is a capital P play partner. So that was a sexual time. There was a lot of electroplay, orgasm, torture, forced orgasm, orgasm denial, both vaginal and anal orgasms. And yeah, some light flogging and things of this. She can't be marked. So no bruises or anything there. And, you got to keep the impact play very light, which is a shame because she really enjoys it. But her significant other really does not like seeing it on her, which is why he doesn't do it himself. So when we play, we keep it very mild when it comes to the impact. All right, moving on. Then I guess a week after that, so this was about the middle of January, there was some service topping that I did. An event took place within the local scene, and a male bottom and sub, and he's really good at both roles. He's a unicorn for someone, and I'm glad that the two that have found each other, they're really good together. So I think they're both going to grow and learn from each other. But anyway, because of the level of stress and things that were going on, I was proxied by his dom. She was busy that weekend and really wanted him taken care of, and knew that, I would do just that. So he come to the play space at Mayfair's house, and did some heavy impact service topping, non-sexual. Just trying to think if anything really stuck out about that. It was an amazing, even though I'm straight, I'm a cisgendered male and a straight male, and so is he. The energy exchange, and a lot of guys, and I've talked about this in the show, being in the South, the southeastern United States, and homophobia is still unfortunately very real here. A lot of men won't top other men, or if you do that in private, you do it in private because there's sexual interaction and you're just hiding. No. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Anyway, the energy exchange is very different when I'm topping a man than when I'm topping a woman. There's, even in a cathartic state for a woman, there's sexuality involved. Most of the time, obviously that is going to depend on the woman, but I would say 90% of the time there is heavy sexual energy. With a man, that's usually not the case when I'm service topping. Usually it's a rage and anger flow that transitions into a peace, a peacefulness. Both are very enjoyable, very different, very interesting. So yeah, it had been a while since I'd service topped a man, and it was pretty cool. I'll definitely do it again if I'm asked. And yeah, it's good because I'm also planning. There is one in the future that I have, a pro session that I have. And that was a big concern is, well, am I going to enjoy it? Because this particular person that wants the pro session is very, very focused on making sure that their top or their dom is being pleased. And he is a gay man, and with me being straight, he was very uncertain as to if I was going to get anything out of it. So yes, absolutely. That flow of energy is just phenomenal. All right. Moving on to this past Saturday, which I believe was the 26th, I want to say. January January 26th, 2019. And today's the 30th. So this was just 4 days ago. Went to the local dungeon. I was pretty exhausted. I was trying to flip my sleep schedule around because I had to work at 3:00 in the morning. I had to go in Sunday morning. So I was trying to sleep during the day and then go to the dungeon and then go to work and pull 12 hours at work. So yeah, I ended up not really playing, long term with anybody. Myself and one person that I've played with many, many times was going to do a single tail scene with her, and somebody kind of butted into the scene and just threw off the entire mood of all of it. At first it was okay by both of us. You know, she approved him to assist. And then, yeah, it was a mistake on both of our parts because this person was more in the swinger community than the kink community, and I didn't have much time because it was at the very end of my evening. And so we were trying to get in there and get out. Normally I highly discourage people rushing a scene, make sure that you have all kinds of hours for one, because once you enter it, you don't know, you have an idea beforehand, but you don't know exactly where it's going to go. And, but however, she and I have played together enough that we know where it's going to go, and we go into it with certain intentions. And this was the first time that it's not been there, or that it's not taken place. It's not hit that level. So anyway, that was kind of a dud. Prior to that, though, there was a newbie there. She had come to a munch, her and her owner, or sir, master. I believe all those titles apply. And we got to know her, him and her briefly, kind of vetted them, and really cool, really good people. So I'm looking forward to getting to know them more and respecting their dynamic. And you're like, well, that's weird to say you're looking forward to respecting their dynamic. Well, yeah, there's so many poly people, and they're not. It's not their thing. And the fact that I just done an episode about that, it's very going to be very interesting to me. And I look forward to talking to them a lot about it if they're willing to. But yeah, great couple. She didn't do any type of play or anything like that. Completely observed, took it all in stride, which is always nice to see. She didn't have that deer in headlights look more than a few times. No, actually, she didn't have it at all. But I got in some playtime with Mayfair, did a knife scene, and an obedience scene, sort of, that was just, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It was intense, and it was completely out of the blue for her and for me. I just pretty much grabbed her and went into it, which is what she prefers. I know that so funny. The things that we say to the vanilla would sound so freaking abusive, but I know her limits well, and I don't push those. So anyway, I just grabbed her and went into it, because if we discuss it, if we make plans for it, she gets inside her own head too much, and she doesn't enjoy it. And she'll tell you, I think about it too much, and I think about my reactions to things and how every little thing feels, and I can't give into it in the way that I want to. This is her words, of course. So yeah, we did some obedience type things and some primal type of scratching and biting and growling. And it was non-sexual, though. We were out in the middle of the dungeon, and in this place, that's not allowed on BDSM nights. Obviously, it's fine on swinger nights, but that's pretty much going to wrap up the play. I had a really good time with her doing that. Did some bloodletting as well. mixed in with that knife play. Because a lot of times with knives, I don't go deep enough to actually cut. It's just a scratch. But with her, I have one knife that I'll use. It's blood bonded with her, and so am I. So, all right. So my thoughts on season 2, episode 8. Now, I have just finished sound engineering school or podcast engineering school, and I put a lot of effort into trying to make sure that the sound on it was good. Of course, I start with the content, and I think that the beginning of it was pretty complex, and I lost a lot of people right at the beginning, more than likely. The episode was on nurturing positive dominant qualities. And when I gave my list of 14 qualities, there was one that I said that I was a little apprehensive to put in there, and that was on self-control, because I knew that the example that I was using is a touchy subject for a lot of people. And if you haven't got there yet, I talk about a friend who's submissive. He constantly talked about her being a sex addict, and she needed to exhibit some more self-control, and he was very overweight, and I told him that he needed to lead by example. And he was a very good friend of mine. We said some really harsh things to each other, and that was actually not one of them. I was telling the truth. I wasn't shaming him, and I tried to point that out in the episode where I say this is, I'm not fat shaming anybody. I'm not weight shaming anybody. That's just one example of self-control. There are so many that I could have used, but to me, that was the one that I thought of when I hit record. And I've gotten feedback on that. I have lost listeners because of that. And I think it's a shame, especially one of the Patreon producers jumped ship because they were offended by that. And I'm not going to apologize for it, because my intentions were not to fat shame, were not to weight shame, just talking about self-control. I used to have a very large problem with a form of nose candy back 20 years ago, my late teens, early 20s. And I had to exhibit self-control to stop that. Now, not participating in play with certain people that I know that I shouldn't, even though I really want to. And why I shouldn't, and there's several different reasons for several different people. Not growling in somebody's ear, one particular person, when I hug her, because she's got a daddy dom, and I haven't asked a blanket permission from him to do that, because she can be a little girl, but she's also gets off on the primal side of things. And I did it, and I actually bit one of them mildly on the shoulder and had to go back and apologize. I crossed a boundary. I didn't have self-control. And it wasn't out of like this passionate desire to do this. It was just simply playing around. Hey, how you doing? I'm primal. That's that's just what I do sometimes, depending on the person, of course. And it was inappropriate. So, just by chance, if any of the people that were on the fence or have jumped ship and come back and listen to this, please know I wasn't trying to fat shame anybody or weight shame anybody. I was just giving an example. So, yeah, overall, getting into the 14 things with that episode, I think that I made a pretty good list. There was a few things that I left off. I wrote them down, but I left them in my vehicle, which it's really cold, and I didn't even think to stop and grab them on my way out of the vehicle when I got home this evening. So maybe in a future journal entry for patrons only, I will include those extra things, or go back and make a part 2 for the regular feed. That's probably what I'll do. All right. So getting inside my head a little bit about the future. Broke this up into 4 things: work, personal, Mayfair, and the show. Work, as I said earlier, I've just finished podcast engineering school. I've been wanting to start that business for some time where I'll be producing podcasts professionally. This industry is starting a boom, and there's never been any real hockey stick growth in podcast listeners, but it is starting to pick up more and more. I love it. I used to be a live venue, a sound engineer back years and years ago, 25 years ago. And I really enjoyed that. And I love messing with audio and mixing and mastering. So that's on the work front. I'm looking for a career change very soon. Personal life. Personally, things are amazing. My wife and I are keeping a journal, an open journal. It's random that we write in it, but we'll just leave it sitting on the other person's end of the coffee table after we've written in it for them to read. So it's completely open. It is our deepest, darkest thoughts and secrets. And that's pretty much personally, things are going really good right now. So I'm in a good place. Mayfair. Inside my head about the future with Mayfair. Wow. She has come so far. In fact, she finally acknowledged it. She sees it and she knows it. She's stepping outside of her shell. She's standing up for herself more, both at work and at home in her personal life. And I couldn't be prouder. I couldn't be prouder. As it can tend to go in a DS relationship, she may eventually get to the point where she has learned from me all that she has to learn, and she may need to move on. I certainly don't know everything, so she may find it time to move on sometime in the next few years. She's always talking about the future and togetherness, so that's good. But I've seen this over and over. When things become stagnant and the growth stops and I run out of things, it's time to release someone so that they can continue on and learn. And I also continue on and learn. I've learned a lot from her. And so it's should be educational on both sides in a romantic DS relationship. The show. I have some major news about the show. I also have some major uncertainty about the show. Again, this is a journal entry, so this is getting inside my head. I'm finding it harder and harder to come up with new topics. I know that there's a lot out there that I haven't talked about. I just don't know what it is. The expression, sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. I'm afraid that applies. Rush Guy 1969, which thank you so much. And I do apologize to you because I said your name in episode that we were just talking about. He was the one that gave me the idea on nurturing positive dominant qualities. He is in my local community, a great person. And I've seen him come a long way in the past few years. But anyway, I said his name is Rush Guy 1964, and it's not. It's 1969. So sorry for that. But join the FetLife group, and there is a sticky in there for show recommendations, show topic recommendations. Or email them to me, sir@kuldrinscrypt.com, and let me know what you want to hear about. Now, there is one that I have been tasked with. And I say that I've been tasked with it because I'm forever in service to the community. But it's about what do you do during a scene? Now, there's a lot of talk about negotiations and prepping and planning, but actually in the scene. And I'm going to have to record a couple of scenes on video just for myself and watch them back so that I can go by step as far as how I set up for it, how I end it. And everybody does it different, and every scene is different. But that's a hard one to describe. And the more I think about it, the more I realize why that's not exactly out there. So if you have a good description for that, a good way to explain it, send that to me. Let me share that on the show. I'll give you full credit for it, of course, or I'll keep it anonymous. If you don't want me to give you credit for it, that's fine too. All right. So there's that. Oh, and with saying that, I'm not saying that the show is going to end. I'm still going to be putting out episodes every 2 weeks. And here's some of the announcements. I've got some interviews that I'm going to do. I've got a femdom that I'm going to talk with, that she's amazing. Her name is Vega, and I have known her 3 years, but I've only recently really started getting to know her because of some rumors that were told to me and a lot of rumors that were told to her about me. And yeah, none of it was true. And we've just put the pieces together. Oh, how people try to play the politics. But anyway, I think that you will really, really enjoy what she has to say. And I'm going to have fun with it. There's going to be a lot of whip cracks to cover up some foul language in that one. But it'll be fun. All right. So there's that. The show itself, I want to start doing some live recording in front of audiences. If your local community is interested in doing this, contact me. I hate to say it like this. I really do, but it has to be worth my time because I'm going to have to take off work. I'm going to have to travel. So I'm going to have some expenses covered. And this can be done by holding it in a dungeon and then having play afterwards. So if people pay 10 or 20 bucks, an extra $5 to get in for the show, that may cover it if you have like 30 people coming for the night or something like that. It just depends on where you are, where I'm staying, how much travel I've got to do. But what I want to do is have some of your local leaders and or educators, preferably, and I hope that the leaders are the educators, on, say, a stage with me, be myself, maybe 2, 3, 4 other people, and do like an hour-long, hour to 2 hour round table on different topics, and of course record that and then put that out on the show. That's kind of one of the new things in podcasting. I'd love to give it a go. So let me know what you guys think about that. And if you're interested, again, my email, sir@kuldrinscrypt.com, and we'll work on that. The final thing about the show, and this is something that I hate to ask for, but I could really use some people's financial support on this. I was asked by one of the locals in Los Angeles to help out with a project for DomCon, which is happening in May of 2019. And I really want to go out there. I'm going to be putting some audio together, and he knew that I wanted to make it. And I've got tickets, full VIP passes waiting on me out there. All I have to do is cover airfare and a place to stay. It kills me to ask for help. However, it's not just helping me out. It's helping the show out because I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews, going to be doing a lot of recording if I get out there. But I don't think I'm going to be able to make it without your help because I'd already put money into a podcasting conference that I go to every year down in Florida. And so that ticket just got paid for. And then this come up for airfare and where I'm driving to Florida and I have a free place to stay down there. If you're interested in helping that cause out, if you can at all, you can do that through Patreon as well, either a one-time donation or becoming a producer, or you can do it through PayPal. Again, I really hate to ask for help, but with this, it is for the show, and I am going to give you the content from it. And I think it's going to be extremely valuable. And you guys have been there for me. I've been there for you. And I really think that we can work together to gather up some fresh ideas and fresh information from other people on Kuldrin's Crypt. And that's what I really want to add in there. All right, so that's going to wrap it up. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to do these types of things weekly. Again, this is only going to be for the Patreon producers. This particular episode is going out to everyone so they can get an idea of what it's like if they want it. And yeah, so find that video that I'm going to make as soon as I get done recording here, and I will post that on Patreon so that you can see how to subscribe to the feed for this show. Producers, thank you so much. Roxy Bear, K2SO, you've been there from the start. Roxy Bear, you've been somebody for me to lean on because you're just an awesome person. Buffalo Dom 84, Leisumi, Haley, Matt, Emerald Wolf, Jeremiah, Silas, Jess, Arcane DGR, Violet Aurelia, That Place in Oklahoma City, JK, Kane Sin. I hope I didn't leave anyone out, though I think I did, because I think somebody just signed up as a junior producer, and for that I apologize. I will get you added into the regular episode. I wasn't planning on naming everyone off for this one because you're the only people that this is actually recorded for. Anyway, again, sir, at kuldrinscrypt.com, show topics, join the FetLife listener group, and please do, if you can, show some love, show some support. If you like the content, share this with other people. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Patreon producers. This has been Master Kuldrin for kuldrinscrypt.com. Actually, no. This has been Master Kuldrin for the Krypters, the Crypt producers. Thank you for helping me to continue to unearth the truth.